morning. Welcome to our May 15th meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Ask Craig Slate, would you pray for us?
I will. Let's pray. Lord God, you are so good to us. Your blessings are new every morning. Your mercies are new every morning. Father, your word is such a benefit and a privilege for us to be able to look at, to study, to understand, to know, to take to heart. And Father, your word gives us all manner of promises about your being with us whenever we invoke your presence with us. We need your presence. We depend on your power, your authority, and your delivery of discernment and wisdom to these men. Help them as they fashion remedies and results for the people of this community. Father, I pray that as a community we will unite, we'll come together, that we'll not take it for granted that we can participate in our government. And Father, I thank you that you are here with us as we deliberate today in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, we'll move right into our public comments and recognition. And first on our list, we're going to recognize one of our Rankin County Sheriff Deputy, David Hicks, for life-saving actions or event. And Craig, would you and the sheriff help me here?
Sheriff, can you come forward, please? It's a real privilege and a pleasure for us, gentlemen. We from time to time we have the opportunity to recognize extraordinary life-saving actions on the part of our brave men and women who serve us in uniform every day. I want to take this opportunity on your behalf, Board, to thank the sheriff, to tell Brian thank you for making it a point that when we have extraordinary life-saving actions that take place, that we know about those so that we can recognize those. The sheriff is always interested in making sure that there's appropriate recognition for extraordinary bravery. Having said that, I don't want to leave out the reality that our men and women who protect us every day engage in extraordinary life-saving activities every single day on our behalf, and they all deserve recognition. And so we're grateful for that. In times like this, though, where we have a gentleman who has served alongside other men and women in law enforcement, who has engaged in an extraordinary act of bravery and heroism, we want to raise that to the attention of our community as a way of establishing that we do a good job of hiring, training, and retaining really good folks in our law enforcement. And it's a privilege for me to read this commendation to you guys and on your behalf. And so I'm going to ask Deputy David Hicks to come forward, please. Deputy Hicks, we want to recognize you for your extraordinary bravery. This is a resolution on behalf of the Board of Supervisors for Rankin County, commending and congratulating the Rankin County Sheriff's Office and Deputy David Hicks for heroic and life-saving actions. Whereas the Rankin County Board of Supervisors has consistently recognized our county's law enforcement under the direction of Sheriff Brian Bailey as a vital component of what makes Rankin County a desirable and a safe place to live and raise a family. And whereas the Rankin County Sheriff's Department has been a consistent partner with the Rankin County Board of Supervisors in serving and protecting the citizens of Rankin County. Whereas in recognizing the importance of Sheriff Bailey, the other leaders of the Sheriff's Department, and the men and women who form the department, the Rankin County Board of Supervisors also recognizes the extraordinary and heroic acts of individual officers, among them Deputy David Hicks, whose training, quick thinking, extraordinary bravery, and selfless devotion to the safety of all citizens resulted in the saving of a life. Whereas on April the 6th of 2024, Deputy Hicks was dispatched to a possible suicide attempt at an address in the unincorporated Rankin County. Arriving on scene, Deputy Hicks found the victim suspended in an obvious attempted hanging. Deputy Hicks found the victim to be unresponsive. Deputy Hicks quickly cut down the victim and administered life-saving CPR and was able to restore breathing and a pulse before medical personnel arrived. The victim survived and is receiving the care needed. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Rankin County Board of Supervisors congratulates and commends the Rankin County Sheriff, the men and women of the Sheriff's Department, and especially Deputy David Hicks for their dedicated service to the citizens of Rankin County. Deputy Hicks is a fine example of the quality of men and women selected by our sheriff and his leadership to serve and protect our citizens each and every day. Their willingness to place themselves in harm's way or answer the call in emergency situations is is what makes Rankin County a safer and more desirable place to live, work, and raise our families. Deputy, this is signed on behalf of all of the supervisors and by our Chancery Clerk. I'm going to make this presentation available to you. I believe the sheriff has something that he wants to present to you in recognition of your heroism.
The board and the citizens don't realize we have so many life deputies saving lives and doing heroic things. We actually have a life-saving award now that we're issuing out. Like today, before we recognize them, now they have something they can actually wear on their uniform. And I'd just like to present this to you. And what I'd really like to say is that, you know, we do something wrong, the national media's in here, everybody else is in here, but we save a precious life repeatedly. And we thank Rankin County Youth for being here, but where's everybody else? Now, you do something good, my guys do something, men and women do something good every single day. And have saved numerous lives. And I just thank the board for recognizing him. And again, we're just, it's a credit. He is a perfect example of the true spirit and heart of the Rankin County Sheriff's Office. We're here to serve the people and to help the people. And I just thank you so much for what you did and for all you do for the Sheriff's Office. And I want you to wear this with pride on your uniform.
Yeah. We get the other deputies to come forward.
The other deputies
Come
don't
on.
feel
You want to get a photo with the board?
Thank you, sir.
Too late.
Great job, man.
Thank you.
Easy, Greg.
All right, next on our public comments, is Ryan Case here? Ryan Case is listed as a person that wanted to make a comment. Okay, we'll move on. Old business minutes approval. Let me do that, and then all right, Jay makes a motion to approve the old minutes from May 6, 2024. Have a second?
I'll second.
Brad seconds that motion. Now, let's,
Finish up.
I've got some people that signed in today for public comments.
All right. We need to vote. Thank you, Brian.
The first person on my list is Lisa Barrett. That would, you're just, okay, all right. William McGee on zoning. Is that something we'll get to later? Are you here, sir?
Yes, sir. Wanted to listen to
Sir?
I just wanted to hear the comments on the zoning case.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I do recognize you, sir. All right. Brittany Everett.
That's gonna be on. She's like.
That's a public hearing.
Okay.
That's a public hearing.
We'll take care of that in a minute. All right, I have a, no, okay, these are all public hearings. We'll take care of those later. All right,
Old business, we need all in favor.
we didn't have an all in favor?
We didn't
All right,
vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed on old business? Motion passed. All right, consent agenda? Yeah, okay.
I'm
Motion to approve.
Jay makes a motion to approve consent agenda.
I second.
Sid seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, let's go with, Brian, you have some updates on our storm?
Good morning. As y'all are well aware, last Thursday night, we had quite excessive winds move through Rankin County. I believe the airport recorded over 100-mile-an-hour winds. at one particular time. The National Weather Service said that there was not a tornado in Rankin County, but obviously with 100-mile-an-hour winds, you don't need a tornado. So our office has been busy over the past few days collecting data from those homes that did receive some type of damage. Some we were notified by the police departments or fire departments, such as Pearl and Brandon. And then we also have a self-reporting tool that's located on our website, which we're encouraging people to go to report their own damage. And what this does is it helps us collect the information. So just so y'all know, we're kind of the middleman in between the citizens and MEMA and FEMA. So the biggest question we always get is, my home's been damaged, when's my check coming in the mail? We're not those people. But we do collect the information for them and send it up to MEMA to the next step. So I passed out before the meeting started so that y'all would have some numbers in front of you, but just for the record, we have completed approximately 90 damage assessments on homes throughout Rankin County. The majority of those are located within the city of Pearl, and then second, the city of Brandon, and then we had a few that were located out in the county. And the reason why I broke it down for you, that we had 3 destroyed, 19 had major damage, 30 had minor damage, and 27 affected, which mainly means maybe a gutter was torn off the house, no major damage, is because that's what MEMA and FEMA look at. They look at the major homes that had major damage and the ones that were destroyed before they determine any type of financial assistance. And then the second caveat to that is they look and see if you had insurance. If you had insurance, you're not counted. So they will compile all these numbers together and then make their determination at the MEMA level whether or not any type of declaration or financial assistance is needed. We don't do that. We just get them that information. So as you know, unfortunately, we did have a fatality inside the city of Pearl. That was a female over there. They also had a subject that was injured but did not require hospitalization, whereas the city of Brandon had one female in the Crossgates area that did require some hospitalization, but she is back home now. So we did have about 5 or 6 self-reports come in overnight, so that's not included in the numbers that you have. We will take care of those, getting those assessed today. And we will probably close out the self-reporting tool at midnight tonight, because we supposedly have some new storms coming in Thursday and Friday tomorrow. So we want to make sure we keep those separate. But do y'all have any questions for me?
What is the threshold for Rankin County?
So there are 2 types of assistance. You have public assistance, which is the ones that help with the streets and the culverts and the bridges, any of those that were damaged, and that threshold is almost $500,000. We are not, thankfully, we are not there in Rankin County with that. Individual assistance does not have a threshold. It's based on how many homes were destroyed or have major damage, and then it's going to fall back onto how many people of those had insurance and didn't have insurance. So there's no threshold for individual assistance. It's just a matter of when they look at those numbers and what it all breaks down to for them. So, but I'll be in contact with you guys if anything changes on that. But
Was the hardest hit area, and you might have already said Pearl?
yeah, according to the damages or whatever, the city of Pearl had the majority of it, but Brandon was pretty close behind. You know, typically we find all our damage out in the county, and the cities are usually left alone, but this was just opposite this time. So, but if y'all need anything, y'all just let me know.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank
Hey,
y'all.
Brian. Brian, yes, before you leave, have we made any headway on getting our announcements out about our storm weather?
On that outdoor warning sirens?
Yeah.
We are consistently working on it. Supervisor Barry has helped me get some word out, maybe get an interview with like Super Talk to try to spread the word out even more.
Okay.
We haven't been able to do it because we've been so busy with the storm damage assessments, but we are currently working on it. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our tax assessor, Stacy McNitch. Is
I don't think
somebody
she's
here to,
Keith is. We're
Keith,
gonna
you
nominate
gonna handle
Keith.
that?
I'll handle that. Item A under the tax assessors section is a petition to adjust the 23 homestead exemption supplemental roll.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Brad makes a motion, Scott seconds a motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
And item B is petitions for change of assessment on the 23 real property assessments.
Motion approved.
Brad makes a motion.
Second.
Scott seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes. Mr. Harrison, Road Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Like to approve a permit for Thomasville Water, Star Shell Oil area in Garrett Road, District One.
I think that's a little 1 and 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be 1 and 3.
All right. Sid made a motion to approve.
Second.
Brad seconds that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
I would like to add one to the permit list. We'll need to add this, a AT&T permit. They've got a repair on Brandon Landing. We'd like to get pushed forward, so that'll be in District 2
I'll
property.
make a motion to add that to the agenda. Second.
All right, Brad makes a motion to add an AT&T permit in District 2. Scott seconds that motion to add. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes to add. Now do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
All right, Brad makes a motion to approve. Scott seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
Mr. President, I would like to thank the board and Sheriff's Department, EOC, and volunteer fire departments in these storms and stuff for y'all giving us the equipment to attack these storms and do what we need to do. Appreciate y'all's help.
Thank y'all for, all of the group that you said and others for working, I don't know how many hours straight, but great, great job. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Parker, County Engineer.
Morning. The first item we have, item A, is on New Haven subdivision, phases 2 and phases 3. We're recommending approval of the construction drawings. That's a District 3 development.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Brad makes a motion to approve. Jay seconds that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
Item B, Mr. President, is on the Gunner Road Phase 2 project. We're recommending approval of payout number 1 for Penfield Construction in the amount of $60,435 and authority to issue the check. That is they've started the water line relocation portion of that project.
That's just for the water line of what they started?
That's just what they've done so far, yeah.
Right.
Motion approved.
Jay makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Sid seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
Item C, Mr. President, on the same project, we're recommending approval of contract change order number 1. This reflects an increase of $2,026. There was a water line out there that Southern Rankin didn't know anything about, and it was found and it has to be tied in, so we're recommending approval of that change order.
I'll make a motion.
Sid makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Scott seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
You made a lot of comments,
I guess Greg, that we can all, just one motion, all
but.
these.
Greg, you can keep your seat, man.
No, I'd like to try to make it to the podium if I can, just to see if I can.
I'm gonna make a motion to set all the public hearings May 30th, A through F, all in one. That'd be my motion.
All right, I have a motion by Brad to set these, public hearings for May the 30th. They're all the same at 9 o'clock. And Brad made the motion. I believe Jay, did you second?
I did.
Jay seconded that motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, these are set for May 30th at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right, now we'll go to public hearings.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, item G, the first public hearing is the Tyler Land Conditional Use Grants Ferry Road District 2. We'll open that public hearing. Tyler Land Holdings is seeking a conditional use permit to construct a state-of-the-art boat dealership and storage facility on Grants Ferry Road. Structure is proposed as a metal building approximately 8,000 square feet in size. It will resemble their Lake Oconee, Georgia store that was built in 2022. It's a repository for high-end luxury boats. They will be visible from Grants Ferry Road. When designing this dealership, they extended the front wall so as to hide the service bays and boats on the interior. Privacy netting will be used to hide the boats in the back of the lot from any side view. Boat storage area will be located at the back of the property. It will be for skiers marine customers. The property is 7.77 acres. It's zoned C2, and so it's going to require a conditional use permit for outside storage and possibly other things. The hearing notice was published, property was posted. The Office of Community Development has received no calls in opposition to the request. So at this time, that hearing is open. I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Tyler Land Holdings conditional use permit request. Is anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter. At this time, it will be appropriate to close that public hearing. It's also appropriate to take action.
All right.
Make the motion.
G, you make a motion? To approve. To approve.
Second.
Scott makes a motion to approve. Jay seconds the motion to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
All right.
Get to work.
Mr. President, the next item under my section is the Jessica Marin conditional use permit, Levi Cooper Road. We'll open that public hearing. This is District 3 property. That hearing is open. Ms. Marin is seeking a conditional use permit to construct a 1,500 square foot electric mechanic shop on Levi Cooper Road. It's a 9-acre parcel. It's zoned A2. Ms. Marin's family will reside on the property in a new manufactured home. Her husband works on all types of electrical motor vehicle issues. Hours of operation are proposed for Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Levi Cooper Road will divide this property, and so the shop will face the property on the opposite side of the road from where the mobile home is going to be located. She wants to make sure that the use is approved before she purchases this property, and obtaining a detailed site plan and drainage, which would be a condition. The hearing notice was published and the property was posted. The Office of Community Development has received no calls in opposition on this matter. Renee, do we have any conditions on this one? We didn't? Okay, all right, just making sure. Yeah.
Hours of operation.
9 to 5,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, is that right? 9 to 5, that's right. Let me ask this, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the Marin conditional use permit request, Levi Cooper Road? Anybody here to speak in opposition on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here rising to speak in opposition. This time we'll close that public hearing. This time it's appropriate to take action.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Brad makes a motion. Sid seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Got two separate public hearings that are coming for two different pieces of property, both owned by the same individual. First public hearing is for Brittany Everett, conditional use permit, 553 Rose Hill Road. This is a District 3 property. Brittany Everett was approved for a personal care home at 553 Rose Hill Road on February the 15th, 2023. One of the conditions set by the board was that there could be no more than 3 residents. Ms. Everett is seeking the conditional use permit to increase the number of residents from 3 to 4, which is the maximum number of residents allowed for this home. She is applying for a license with the Mississippi State Department of Health for a personal care home residential living facility. So if everyone's clear, the board acts, she'll have to have a permit from the State Department of Health to be able to operate this facility. Okay? Residents may, the home will accept individuals who require personal care services only. These residents may have functional or physical impairments such as cognitive limitations or be unable to complete certain activities of daily living independently. The home will operate for 24 hours a day and will require 1 staff member for the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and another staff member 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Hearing notice was published, the property was posted. The Office of Community Development has received no calls in opposition to this request. That public hearing is open. This time I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Brittany Everett conditional use permit request, 553 Rose Hill Road. Anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here rising in opposition. At this time, it would be appropriate to close that hearing. This time it's appropriate to take action. The staff does have proposed conditions on 553. So I want to, if I may,
Please.
I'd like to speak those into the record so that it's clear that these would be proposed conditions to go with any action to approve a conditional use. The applicant must have a license from the State Department of Health to operate a 4-bed facility. Ms. Everett will only be allowed to operate a 3-bed facility until that license is secured. Second condition, the facility is required to have a qualified care provider on site 24 hours a day. All care providers must be 18 years of age or older and have verification that they are not listed on the Mississippi Nurses Aid Abuse Registry. Third condition, the applicant is required to obtain proof of a criminal history check for all care providers in the facility. Number 4, the applicant is required to maintain records and make records available to the county upon request. And number 5, there can be no signage for this parcel of property. Okay? So those would be the conditions recommended by the staff. We would propose, Mr. President, that if the board is prepared to take action, that it implement these conditions as a condition to the issuance of the permit.
I'll make a motion or approve with these conditions.
Okay. Brad makes a motion to approve with the conditions listed.
I second.
Sid seconds that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. President, the next item under public hearings is, again, same owner of property, different piece of property. This is Brittany Everett seeking a conditional use permit to operate a personal care home, residential living facility in an existing home at 551 Rose Hill Road. These parcels are adjacent. She's applying to the State Department of Health for a license to operate a 4 to 6 bed facility. The home will accept individuals who require personal care services only. The residents may have functional or physical impairments such as cognitive limitations and or be unable to complete certain activities of daily living independently. Home will operate 24 hours a day. Same deal. There will be a required staff member there 7 to 7 and then night shift 7 to 7. Maximum number of residents allowed in the home is 6. The hearing notice was published, property was posted, and the Office of Community Development has received no calls in opposition on this matter. That hearing is open. This time I will ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Brittany Everett conditional use permit for personal care home residential living facility at 551 Rose Hill Road. Anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter. Again, the staff has made the same 5 conditions. I won't go through those again. Same 5 conditions as you heard on the adjacent parcel. We would suggest and ask that the board implement these conditions should it decide to grant the conditional use permit.
The number of residents there, is that something the county said, or is that the state? The state, okay.
I think it has to do with the size and configuration of the
high
facility,
square
Brad.
footage.
Yeah. Yes, so she's allowed up to 6. I think it's unclear how many exactly will be there, but
Could
we
be
know that
4
as
or
many
5 or
as
6.
6 could be.
My motion is to approve with the conditions set forth.
All right. Brad makes a motion.
Second.
Jay seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, I would like to simply add as dicta to the record, that means doesn't have any force and effect, it's just me commenting that in this particular case with respect to Ms. Everett's conditional use request, what the board has found by granting these 2 permits is that unlike other situations that the board has encountered for very similar requests, In this case, the use is in fact compatible. It's at least found not to be incompatible with surrounding uses. And that's a critical finding that the board has made in this particular case. Certain places across the county are appropriate for these types of uses, and other places across the county are not, because they are simply not compatible with surrounding properties. So I just wanted to clarify.
Plus, she's got support from the community.
That's exactly right.
And
That's
she's
exactly-
going to get licensed.
And I
This
think,
all,
Sid,
you know, on her getting a license to,
that is a critical defining factor here. I just wanted to raise that as an explanation, should it be that anybody else is interested in understanding why we sometimes allow and sometimes don't. That this is not a one-size-fits-all policy, and this board has the discretion to determine whether or not a particular use is compatible with surrounding properties. Okay? So thank y'all for letting me editorialize on that. I thought it was important to point out that distinction. Next item that's for public hearing is a Rankin County initiated rezoning. From time to time, the county, in fact, is the applicant for a rezoning. And so this is being brought to you on behalf of the county and the citizens of the county and your staff. Rankin County, and we're opening that public hearing, Rankin County is initiating a zoning change for 7 parcels along Highway 471. The zoning change will be from a medium density, can I call it medium density, R1C, from a medium density zoning classification to RE1, which is a residential estate, minimum lot size of 1 acre. A call was received from a property owner who was advised by the lender for the property owner that horses would not be permitted in an R1C zone. These parcels were part of a future phase of what was then known as Harbor Gate subdivision, what is currently known as Harbor Gate subdivision. This property, this large parcel, was designed or laid out to be a later phase of development that never came online. All right? So the property was rezoned in 2006 from RE1 to R1C to accommodate a residential subdivision. The developer of Harbor Gate was able to get sewer service from PRV for a portion of the property that was developed. These 7 parcels range in size from 2 to 4.5 acres. They are on individual wastewater treatment systems, and they adjoin RE1 zoning. Zoning change to RE1 is justified because these are large lots with no sewer service to support an R1C medium density development zoning classification. The hearing notice was published, the property was posted, and we've received no calls in opposition at the Office of Community Development. That hearing is open. I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak either for or against the Rankin County initiated rezoning at Highway 471, District 4. Anyone here to speak on that matter?
I have a question.
If you'll please come forward. When you arrive at the podium, please give your name and address to the board.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. McGee.
My name's William McGee. I live at 4062 Highway 471. And my property is in the middle of this place. My only question, or 2 questions, real quick. Number 1, when we bought this property, there was some stipulations applied to our deed by Rankin County. Should I decide to make changes or property, will the zoning affect that stipulation that's in my deed?
No, sir.
Will not? Thank you. Number 2, will this have any effect on on taxes and so forth at the present time?
It won't affect, if you don't change the use of your property, what you've been paying in taxes will continue.
Thank you.
Unless the value of your property changes somehow. The zoning won't make any impact on it.
I realize I found out, I did not know that this was previously RE1.
Yes, sir.
It was. Thank you.
That's right.
No, thank you.
Anyone else to speak on that matter?
Scott.
He's good.
Mr. President, I don't see anyone else to speak on the matter. Unless the board has questions or comments, we'll close that public hearing. Okay, it's closed. This time it'll be appropriate to take action.
All right,
Make a motion to approve.
Jay makes a motion to approve, Scott seconds that motion. Any other discussion?
Are homes being built right now on that?
No.
They're
I was thinking, Brad,
Okay.
most of that's already developed out.
And common terms, this is cleaning up something that ended up not being a development, that
It's bigger lots.
could have, anyhow. And the homeowners that are there found that they couldn't use their property like they intended to, because it was, when it was gonna be in a subdivision, it had other characteristics that, anyhow. It's not gonna affect the neighbors as far as how much their taxes are unless they change something. I mean, that would happen anyhow. Anyhow, we have a motion and a second. Now, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. President, last and final public hearing under my section is, well, actually, we do have another public hearing, but the last one under public hearings is for the Hindu Temple Society of Mississippi. This is a conditional use permit at 173 Vernon Jones Avenue. This is District 5 property. We'll open that public hearing. The Hindu Temple Society of Mississippi is seeking a conditional use to permit for a permit to construct 2 duplexes, 4 total units at the existing Hindu Temple site at 173 Vernon Jones Avenue. This is a 2.99 acre parcel. It's zoned A1. Both duplexes will be 1,060 square feet in each unit, and they will contain 530 square feet of living space. The buildings will be brick on all 4 sides. There will be 5 concrete parking spaces per duplex. Water and sewer service will be provided by the city of Flowood. Tim Parker reviewed the drainage plan and made no comments. The hearing notice was published, the property was posted. We received a call in the Office of Community Development in opposition. The caller stated that there's too much traffic on a 1-lane road, drainage issues, and drivers who think they own the road.
That sounds like
Yes.
places in my area.
Mr. President, I'd like to know where to lodge that similar complaint myself at times. And that's just for my wife's driving. She drives like she owns the road sometimes.
She's not here.
She's not here to defend herself. I forgot about that. Y'all please don't tell on me.
She drove you around for 2 or 3
Yeah, she did. She did. So I got an up-close look at some of the driving behavior.
So at 9:40 mark, we'll make sure and let her know.
She already knows. I can assure you. Anyhow, let me issue to you guys, that hearing is open. I'll ask at this time if there is anyone here in person to speak in opposition to the Hindu Temple Society conditional use permit request. Anyone here to speak in opposition on that? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter. The staff does have of one condition we'd like to have in the record, and also with respect to the permit issued in the permit. These duplexes are designed to be for Hindu Temple Society priest residences. And so we want to be clear on the record that these duplexes are not available for rent or use by anyone other than being associated with Hindu Temple Society. Okay, so that would be the one condition the staff would like to implement.
Are we closed?
We can be, yes, sir. If y'all are prepared to take action, we'll close that hearing. It's appropriate to take action.
I make motion to approve.
Second.
Jay makes a motion to approve. Scott seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Mr. President, with your indulgence, I would like to add one item that's not on the agenda. I'll add it, with your permission, we'll add it at this point. That add would be a discussion and potential action concerning the curbs and gutters in Mill Creek subdivision. We have individuals here affiliated with the Homeowners Association who would like to address the board. And so I'd like to ask for permission to add that item. It's a discussion and potential action concerning the curbs and gutters within the Mill Creek subdivision.
Motion to add that to the agenda.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from Scott to add the discussion and potential action of curbs and gutters in the Mill Creek subdivision, District 5.
It's
Three,
actually
two.
District 2.
District 2.
I second.
All right. Scott makes a motion. Brad seconds the motion. Any other discussion?
I'd like to, I'm asking the
This is
representatives of
to
the
add.
HOA.
This is
Oh,
to
I'm sorry.
add.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All
We
in
we
favor?
won't,
Aye. All right, we have added it.
we've got representatives of the Mill Creek HOA here, so I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and give their address as they come forward, and just basically just address the board with what we're here talking about.
My name is Adam Day, and I live at 161 Westlake Drive in Mill Creek Place subdivision and part of the HOA there. I'm also with Clyde DeChamp and Dee Moses of the Mill Creek Place HOA board. A while ago, the Rankin County Board of Supervisors did a great job at paving our streets, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But as a result of that, some of the curbs and gutters in our neighborhood were placed in a position of peril. The pavement came to the top of the gutter, and the concrete from people's driveways here, and it created a ditch in the middle of that curb. And we're just asking for some resolution from the board to be able to come back in and to fix some of those areas. I think there's approximately 40 or so addresses that need some resolution, which would involve putting a piece of pipe down in the gutter and then putting some pavement over the top of the pipe to be able to create some.
This is at the driveway?
This is at the driveway, absolutely. Had a conversation with Mike from the road department about this a while ago, and he assured us that there'd be some resolution to that, and we just haven't been able to get that yet. And so we're just coming and asking for that resolution.
So Mike, why did we not mill that area rather than creating this nightmare that will be forever ongoing? Cause you know, you put these little pipes in, they're gonna be getting clogged up, and we're gonna have to be going out there and undo them.
We did mill the road day. The issue with the road in Mill Creek is actually a concrete road underneath the asphalt. So it only allows you to mill out so much of the asphalt.
So it's a concrete base with
It's a concrete
asphalt on
base?
top of it.
The base was concrete in Mill Creek.
Didn't know that.
For some reason.
Did the county put the concrete down years ago, or was that?
I reckon whenever they subdivided one to it, the developer did that, Brad, at some point past.
I just
So
think we
that's
gonna
what
create a
limits-
nightmare.
That's what limits you from doing a few elevation changes in there without tearing out what's got.
The homeowners have agreed in the past to be able to be responsible for their own pipe and making sure that it's clear so that water can flow. We've got people that are putting
Can
bricks.
we get that in writing?
I'm sorry?
Can we get that in writing?
Absolutely. In fact, the homeowners have agreed to be able to sign a waiver, and and Mike mentioned that that actually would be a possibility, that we would sign a waiver. Each homeowner that receives concrete, or that receives pavement and a pipe, would be responsible for their own pipe.
For maintaining it.
For maintaining.
From here on out.
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay.
We've got folks that are putting bricks down, they're putting wood down, and, you know, we've told people they can put bridges down, but it's just very expensive for them to purchase.
Yep.
Adam, I believe
Ms.
you
Moses
have
may have
some-
additional comments.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Dee Moses. I live at 110 Westlake Drive. I just wanted to add, in addition to what Adams let you know, I talked to homeowners over the weekend when we were driving around assessing damage from the storms they've been talking about. And by the way, I'd like to thank them for all the work they've done, because they cut down a tree that had fallen into the yard. Anyway, in talking to these people, numerous people have had the bumpers of their car ripped off the back. And we actually had an ambulance that went to a home to get a woman who ultimately passed away. But the ambulance couldn't even get in and out without just significant trouble. That's my understanding, and that's a big peril too, if we can't get the help to people because of the driveway. So I just wanted to let you know that as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mike, what size pipe, or would they all take the same pipe, or would it be different pipes?
We're trying to put, we looked at it, me and Tim looked at it, we was gonna try to put 3 to 4 inch pipes in there, where it did have just like some 1 inch and 1.5 inches in it, try to keep the flow going through the curb and gutter.
I mean, you talking about a steel pipe.
Yes, yeah, we're talking about steel pipe, not a plastic pipe.
Yes, sir.
Clyde DeChamp, I live 159 Mill Creek, and I was actually going to address what he just said. The first time the county came in, they put 4-inch pipe in front of all the driveways, and some of them are so shallow that it made it stick up significantly above the grade there. and started cracking away almost immediately. So I don't think there's one size fits all. Some of the driveways don't need anything. Some of them need a 4-inch pipe, some of them need less than a 4-inch pipe. So just, it's a little more complicated, I think, than we initially laid out. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So the statement of the issue, gentlemen, is it's the county's right-of-way, and you've heard that there's a concern and stated concern with respect to access and that being made problematic by the work that the county instituted. The history on this is we're aware of. The whole project itself was a drainage improvement project that came about as a result of significant litigation and other things that were going on at the time. Thankfully, the work that was initiated by the county with the authority of the court seemingly has addressed all of the drainage issues. This is really the last remaining unresolved situation that we have, and it's a byproduct of the very last thing that we did in there, which was to resurface the streets after all of the drainage improvement projects were done, and introducing the appropriate crowning in the streets so that the stormwater flow would result appropriately. And what you find is right there in that curb section, you get a good bit of stormwater flow from time to time. So it's critical that that stay open. What we don't want is to introduce some sort of resolution here across the development only to have the same drainage issues result again because we don't have good adequate stormwater flow. So this is a little bit of a trick bag for us. There is a basis, should the board choose to do it, there's a basis for the board to address this. It's our right of way. So if the work is going to happen here, it's got to be done either by the county or at the sufferance of the county. These folks need to know if it's going to be addressed, what is this board's position on the manner of addressing it? Should this board choose to take responsibility for it and introduce the solution, you need to set the terms, the timeline, and any conditions to that, such as a waiver or an acknowledgement that any future maintenance will be solely the responsibility of the property owner. You need to set those terms if you decide to do that. We need a decision. Are we going to handle it, or are we going to require the property owners themselves to handle it? And if so, how are we going to interface with them to make sure that whatever they do is compliant with what this board's expectation is? So we just need a point of decision so these folks can then communicate the board's final decision on it, and we're not in a no man's land uncertain about what to do.
Well, Craig, first, if we decide that it's something that we would entertain the county handling, do we need to go back through the court in any way? No.
Think
Okay.
so.
All right. Then the
No,
next
sir.
thing, if we say it, we're gonna put it on the homeowner, and they do whatever they wanna do, and it causes problems with drainage, then we have problems.
I think we do, and the greater problem I think that we have is that if the board takes the position, we want the homeowner to address the situation, it's gonna be powerfully difficult for us to set meaningful rules about what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get good compliance there across the spectrum, and invariably, you are going to have to face the reality that some of the work done by individual homeowners is going to create drainage problems for your road.
And some may be rental homes that do nothing.
Correct.
It's not my district, but I would suggest that we have our road manager and engineer to plan and show us what they think the best plan, and it may not be one size fits all, I don't know. But between Mike and Tim, I would like today for this to be discussion, get more information from Tim and Mike, and bring it to us and let us have something that we approve
Yes.
that fixes the situation, but maybe not all the same.
Yes.
My concern would be, I mean, if you put an 1.5 or 3-inch pipe down, I mean, water's got to go through that pipe, and I mean, if it clogs up, they're not gonna get out there while it's raining, and you're gonna have water issues, water going places where it, eventually it will go down, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Hopefully, during those flash flood events, the road is structured to where it will circumvent and get to the gutter, because the road's crowned and, which will clearly be on the homeowner.
Right.
To clean those, cause they're gonna be clogged up at times
Right.
with just leaves or whatever.
Right. Well, and it's not lost on us, and it shouldn't be, that a part of what is the county's responsibility is, as right-of-way interfaces with the public road, as the access to the drive interfaces, there's this arrangement where the county has some responsibility to make sure the property owner can adequately access their property. So you've been told that there are challenges to access that exist here as a result of the way that the crowning of the road, the asphalt, is connected to the existing curb. So there's multiple bases, should the board wish to do so. There's multiple justifications for this board deciding to take action and try to make it as uniform as possible across the subdivision development. That it would be appropriate to do that, should the board wish to do it.
Scott, what do you wanna do, man?
I think, I've been out there, I've looked at them, I've seen the problem. We even had and I'm not speaking for the sheriff by any means, but we had a problem where a deputy went to visit someone who was backing out and damaged his bumper. So it's an obvious problem. And I think in my opinion, we need to do something.
Was all this caused by, just started when we repaved, so it was not like
Yes.
this before?
It wasn't.
Yeah, we weren't seeing it, I don't
Not
want
to
to
this
speak for
level.
this, so y'all live out there, but my understanding is that until we crown the road, until we resurface the road, we weren't having this issue. Right, so, okay, so I'm grateful that we were able to get it resurfaced, because the road desperately needed to be resurfaced. Whole lot more good than bad has resulted from that, and the stormwater out there is being handled well as a result, direct result of the county's work. So, this is really just the last remaining issue, Sid. Now, initially, when we were looking at this, we saw as the street was being resurfaced, we could predict that there were gonna be some issues here and there. We could predict it. I remember going out there with Tim and Mike, and one lady in particular was uptight because there was basically the equivalent of a pond that was, after every rain event, that prevented her elderly parents from actually being able to get their mail. It's just water standing because it couldn't flow properly as a result of the impediment from the asphalt resurfacing. So we've known that there were some issues here and there. What's been better defined now is the extent of it. And so it's not gonna be inexpensive to deliver a solution here, but
So, won't you make a motion that Mike analyze whatever we need to do, get it done, and that
Did a surprise.
we won't have any responsibility after it's installed?
I like that motion.
okay.
All right,
So quickly, we will get I'll call it a takeoff. We'll get some sort of estimate of the cost to design and then implement the solution and get that back to you guys. And I will be in a position to prepare some form of waiver document that will have to be executed by each property owner. And so I'd like to also request that, to the extent that we can get the HOA's help with getting property owners to deliver waivers, that will be a good process. I'd like to work hand in hand with these folks to make sure that the property owners understand what their responsibility is before we deliver a solution.
all right, is the motion for Mike we've already added it, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
All right, we wanna make the motion for Mike and Tim to put together a plan and bring it to us with an estimate. And then at the same time, y'all are getting the releases to our council.
We'll have the releases
And
ready.
then we can approve
Yes, sir.
the motion to have Mike and Tim put us a plan together, get things together with some type of an estimate. And then at that time, we approve the amount of money and to go with it. All right, the motion then is to have Mike and Tim do a plan with estimates reflect that, get that back to us, and then,
And draft a waiver.
and
A waiver.
that, between our council and the homeowner association, they will have a waiver that we get to review.
Yes.
All right, Scott makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, Sid seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Just for clarification, your action that you added, you added action as a part of the add
That's
on
right.
this, so you don't have to add
Discussion and
action.
action.
It's already a part of the.
Okay.
Part of the agenda now. Mr. President, we'll go back to my section of the agenda. I believe we're at item M now.
Yes.
I'm going to open a public hearing on, and this is a review hearing. I'll explain that momentarily. This is on the zoning violation nuisance property review for Andrew Butler, 156 Westlake Drive. This is a District 2 property. We've got our folks who are representatives of the HOA here, who were here on that other matter, and so I'm asking those guys to stay with us, don't leave, as we move through this. This is, again, is a review hearing. At this time, I'll ask if Mr. Butler or anyone on Mr. Butler's behalf is present in the courtroom. Yeah. So please come forward. Be prepared to address the board. Renee, if you will, Renee is going to demonstrate with the photos. Again, this is a review hearing. I want to clarify that there is not a potential for the board to actually act today. You are reviewing the matter. You may have comments, you may have questions. You may give some form of directive to your staff with respect to what, if anything, to do based on what you see. But you're not being asked today to make any particular finding. If the board gets into a position where it wants to further address the matter or is required to address the matter, then you will have an opportunity to take action at that time at a later date. Renee, you'll demonstrate with photos, please.
All right, so we received the first complaint in 2021 about a tree cutting business bringing vehicles and trailers home. We sent a notice letter on March the 9th of 21. These pictures were taken March the 9th of 21.
Renee, can you
Turn your mic on, please.
Yes. Okay. This second complaint in 21, same thing, owner operating a tree cutting business from home. Workers were present during the inspection. I think that's the same one. Says the letter was sent March 9th, 21. This is a truck parked in the street April 9th of 21. The owner came into our office and applied for a home occupation license. He was advised on what was allowed as a home occupation, and if things changed after he completed the application, he would be required to look for a commercial location. If he honored what was on the form, then the license would remain. All right, this was a complaint that was received about debris and the fence being down. He was instructed to clean up and repair the fence. These pictures were taken November 5th of 21. This was taken September 19th of 22. Complaint about equipment at his home. He stated the equipment was for personal use on his property and would remove once the work was completed. These were January 4th of 23. The vehicle part, there's limbs on the trailer. He was reminded again that he could not have his business operation at his home. So these pictures, I'm not sure when these were taken. It was about the wood shavings. He said.
October of 23, Renee.
Is that what it says? Okay, I see. Yeah. Okay, so he stated the wood shavings were for use in his backyard to help with erosion control. All right, it was a complaint about a generator, tree logs, and other tools in the driveway. These pictures were May of 24th, which is now. Dilapidated fence and debris. And then these are just other pictures that were from the neighbors.
These are recent pictures. Or
I don't
no?
know, they
No.
were-
He's
they
going
were-
back
I
as
got
far as
you.
3 years, Brett.
This is a District 2,
Yes, sir.
It's at Mill Creek.
Mill Creek. This has been ongoing for a long time, and this is a review. Give us
Yes, sir.
some
So,
guidance.
We've got Mr. Butler and his counsel here if they wish to address the board about any of this. We've also got representatives of the HOA that I'd like to have give an opportunity to the extent that they are willing to do so to address the board today as a part of this review.
Before we review, can you go back to the street view so I can, is this one of the driveways that needs a pipe in it?
Actually, yes, it is.
Back it up there, Renee. You know.
With ball joints and control arms, all sorts of stuff.
No,
Bearings.
give me another, like a side view,
I don't know.
daytime picture of that.
Let's see what she's got in here. No,
They have a side view.
I don't know.
let's see.
Right there, Brad.
Yeah.
Before you address the board, you need to give your name and address.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sarah Lindsay Hammonds, and I represent Andrew Butler. I'm pleased to be here this morning. I did not anticipate being able to attend, but I had a colleague that could cover another hearing for me. I wanted to be here. I'm usually in the courtroom, and I've never come before this board before, so this is new territory for me, and if y'all will just bear with me. I'm really of very little value to my client today because I'm completely unprepared for this proceeding. Since Mr. Butler retained me after receiving a letter from Ms. Vanek on April 11th, advising him of a May 2nd hearing scheduled for his property, I've made at least 7 requests for information about the allegations about his property. I called Ms. Vanek directly, and she appropriately responded to say that I should reach out to Mr. Slay as the board's attorney. I contacted Mr. Slay's office. I spoke with his support staff, Cindy, who is wonderful, and she emailed with me. I made at least 4 email requests asking, hey, the letter just said we've got a concern about a zoning violation. Well, that could be anything. What's the concern? Please tell me so that I can figure out how we can remedy it, or I can determine if there's a legitimate dispute. For example, I don't know if the question is a self-employed person allowed to drive their work truck and park it at their house? If you are a plumber, can you drive your Calhoun plumbing truck back and park it at your house?
That'd be in the covenants, on the Mill Creek covenants, wouldn't it? I mean, wouldn't they have something like that?
They do address you can't operate a nursing home on your property. You can't, of course, have a storefront. I can't invite customers to come get their nails done at my house. With a tree cutting business, I don't know that I can comprehend how you could be running your business from home when you're going to someone else's house to cut their tree down. You don't have a storefront business. But I wanted to circulate my emails to the board and the letters that were received. If I may. Emails. I'm honestly surprised to see a PowerPoint presentation this morning because I have been begging for this information before today. And if I had known, I would have come prepared with photographs. Mr. Butler says that he was advised that he wasn't allowed to submit any photos. Point number 2 is that, as you'll see in those emails, Ms. Butler, who lives in the home as well, she's a school teacher. She took off work for the May 2nd hearing, but wasn't allowed to take off work today because it's the last day of school. So she could not be here today. But we were not, as you'll see in the emails, able to agree to another date for this to be presented. I don't think that an accurate picture of the situation could be presented to this board, essentially with trial by fire. My concern is just.
Apparently Ms. Hammonds doesn't understand this is a review. So if we're not gonna be able to get something handled or addressed with respect to the obvious behaviors that are evident in the pictures and as will be established through the testimony of the folks from the HOA, if we can't get to some form of resolution, then she'll have her opportunity to present documentation in the forms that are required to complete a record for a hearing. Okay, so this is a review.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of it's just nuisance. I mean, it's the fences, is the fence fixed now?
I'm Andrew Butler. I live at 156 Westlake Drive. I actually have a contract with a fence company, with a gentleman that builds fences. There's also the neighbor that wants to say, hey, let's chip in, because he wants to run it all the way the rest of the length of the property. If you'll see, as we get closer to today's time, that white trailer has not been brought home. The initial pictures, you can see there's a new driveway apron that was poured.
Yeah.
Now, I actually asked that board, if I spend this kind of money to park my stuff on it to be within the code, will you leave me alone? If not, I'll take my money and I'll go buy some acres somewhere else and be left alone. Like most veterans of my generation, I just want to be left alone, raise my children, be productive human beings. What isn't shown is the property next to is also another contractor, and if I'd been allowed to submit my own photos, there's trucks, dump trailers, the same thing brought home. I have been harassed time and time again, so much so that a camera was placed on my home for at least 3 months straight, and in the front left-hand corner, you'll see there's rose bushes I have let go because that's my daughter's bedroom. My daughter is 5.
What he's saying is that there's a camera in the house across the street that films his house 24 hours, and his daughter's bedroom is in the front, and so the family is obviously
What's their purpose
disturbed
of
by it.
videoing your house?
At this point in time, sir, I think it's more of a power trip. Just, I've always asked, I'm from the country, I'm old Rankin County farm blood. You know, that's why we moved to Rankin County. It just didn't seem, when I got back, wasn't the same. My wife's from the Boston area, wanted to live in the neighborhood. While I work a lot.
Boston.
You'll see a lot of the photos that were submitted by the board are at night. I'm coming in at 9, I do a lot of storm work. So as a matter of fact, had my machine been at my location, I would have saved the county some money and had that tree moved out of the roadway that night. I do a lot of storm response. All I'm asking is the fence is under contract to be fixed. The chippers, the chipper is a rental, it's the bucket, I come in late at night. The bucket, when I rent that bucket, it has a time where it is parked, the code's locked, you can't access it in and out. The trucks are always parked on there, and so I brought firewood for elderly couples down the street that burn, that's how they get some of their source of heat. I'm not allowed to bring my own stuff home. I'd stopped doing that. I had brought a trailer with wood for somebody else that did not come off one of my job sites. I paid to dispose of my own stuff that I could have used for my own firewood inside my home and my own fire pit in the back. The mulch, or the wood chips, I use as a mulch, and I'm also in my backyard using it as erosion control and to build up a hill so that I can terrace and plant fruit trees or an edible landscape in the rear of the property.
All right, guys.
You spoke a second ago about this driveway. You said the board. What board? Which board? My HOA board, I'm Okay. sorry.
Yeah. And I know you put the new concrete down, but is that asphalt on the very end of it?
Yes, sir. So the intent was to bring the rest of it and make it concrete, and this was gonna be, when that happened, I had a truck stolen in Jackson with $60,000 worth of equipment on it that the insurance company did not cover on a commercial policy, and that's a separate, well, funds are funds. I got a job to do, I got bills to pay and mouths to feed, so this was the quickest way to finish the project, to make it paved by county definition. The intent in the near future is to have the rest of that actually concreted over and match.
Out to the road, yeah.
Can we hear from the HOA
Yeah.
folks?
Thank y'all.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. We might have y'all come back up here in a minute.
Morning again, I'm Dee Moses. I live at 110 Westlake Drive, and I'm currently the president of the HOA. I've been president since approximately 2017, except for 1 year that I took off, and somehow I got back in it. I don't know why. Ms. Hammond said that she was, had just recently been retained, had not had time to collect what she needed to address you, and mentioned trial by fire. I want you to know, please, we have been trying to talk to Andrew Butler since June 12th of 2020, okay? We have been in constant communication with them. For a couple of years, we were trying to enforce our covenants. Our covenants were written in 1974, when a handshake meant something. You know, when you could expect people to do right. And I'm not saying Andrew's a good guy. He really is. He means well. But what he is doing to our neighborhood and his neighbors is not right. I have documentation of when we've talked to him, of when we've sent letters. At times he will seem to have straightened things up and slowed things down, which was good. And then a week later, we're right back to where we were.
Is the most of the complaints just him bringing home equipment?
No, he has employees coming early in the morning, staying late at night. They operate the heavy-duty machinery, I don't know the terms for all of it, grinders, whatever, late at night, and you've got families around them that are having trouble sleeping and just enjoying their property. What about their right to enjoy their property? Andrew says he wants to just be left alone. We would love to do that. We would love to leave him alone. Store your equipment somewhere else. Have your employees meet you there. We have a storage facility not even a mile down Grants Ferry where he could store his equipment. He's gotten other neighbors. Vicki Freese, a real estate agent, said that they were working with her trying to find a place to store his equipment. He's been trying to find a place to store his equipment since 2020, okay? He talks about the cameras. I've heard some really incredible things that they have come up with. Everybody today has a Ring camera, a security camera, whatever. I have them. I told my neighbor, I'm sorry if you do something against the law, it's not my fault that my camera picks it up, right? And so, yes, people have cameras. They're not deliberately aimed. It's just, this is what it picks up. And it picks it up all hours of the morning, day, night. I know Andrew has come to the rescue in our neighborhood with some families during some bad storms, April 9th, maybe before. And he helps, you know, he does his job well. We're just asking that he operates his business from outside the neighborhood. One thing too, today, I was blindsided, but we're trying to protect the board by the curb situation, okay? We have previously furnished Craig with a list, and Mike, with a list of the homeowners who have complained. In this meeting, where Andrew's been present, he heard you say you might look to fix it. So all of a sudden, he needs a new curb. His name isn't on the list we sent to Craig. Okay, I'm just letting you know. And we have had a talk about that for maybe a year. Has it been that long since the street was paved?
Yes.
And
More than a year.
we said, if you have problems with your curb, you need to let us know, and we have a list. His name's not on the list. And I heard him tell you he's gonna get this done, he's gonna get that done. That's always the way it is. He's going to get it done, but he never does. Then there was mention about our covenants, and I'm not gonna go much longer, but like I said, our covenants were written in the 1970s when a handshake meant something.
Does it say in there that you can't bring your work trucks home, or?
All lots shall be used for residential purposes only. And it goes into a little bit more detail. Residential purposes shall generally be defined as single-family homes and shall exclude all commercial and professional uses. Does that not cover it?
Yes, ma'am. Will you explain, Craig, we don't enforce
Oh, I understand.
your covenants. We
I
do
understand.
support that you have them and
Yes.
appreciative, but we have our own thresholds.
That's right.
And
I understand. Well, then I won't bore you with the rest, but
No, it's helpful to hear that.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
know.
Typically, we don't allow through a conditional use or other permit process. We don't allow that on our end if we know on the front end
It's
that the
violating.
activity is gonna violate a covenant.
So what was done back in 19, or what kind of agreement was reached with him?
It's a home-based-
That's the
home-based
homeowner
business
association.
Renee.
That's
Board.
right, and there's certain requirements
Yes.
that he has to attest to or sign that he's gonna
Yes.
abide by.
That's right.
Like I said, if that changes and he doesn't honor what he filled out on the form, then he should look for a commercial location.
Yes, that's correct.
and may I
And he was
ask,
told that.
he had I understand that his license for occupational use expired in April of 2023, and when I checked on it in January of 24, it had expired. Also, the company that is listed on the application, Tree Care Pros, has been dissolved by the Secretary of State. Just throw that in there.
That's all good information. I appreciate Ms. Moses sharing that with us. Very
Any other questions for me?
Well,
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Craig, you guys
I have
have
a
here.
question for you.
You guys have anything else you need to add to that? Okay.
Just before it leaves my mind, I thought Jay showed me something that I would like for Mike and Tim to investigate. In lieu of pipes and asphalt, a mat that we can up front put down and then let that, I mean, if that is something that would work better.
Yes. We're gonna need to look for the most
Yeah,
cost-effective means.
let's
That may
include
be-
that in your review. I think that may be a better solution.
That could be the most cost-effective means. I don't know that it is, but it
Yeah.
could be.
So Craig, when
Yes,
we
sir.
did the overlay district,
Yes, sir.
was there not something included about large trucks?
Yes, you cannot have them in a platted
Yeah,
subdivision.
is this,
Okay.
this is overlay.
But it's just in the regular zoning. It is in the Reservoir Community District, the zoning overlay.
It's a 20-foot bed is what it states.
So what's happening, just to kind of summarize, I don't know if do you have any other questions for either Mr. Butler or
I mean,
for the
if I was
HOA
Mr.
folks?
Butler, I'd want to try to make my neighbors happy and do whatever. I mean, if there's a storage facility where he can park his stuff, I think it would solve a lot of the issues.
Not every home-based business operation is created equally. Some are more compatible with platted residential subdivisions than others. If Mr. Butler was providing CPA services associated with tax preparation and was receiving a client here or there parking in the driveway, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If Mr. Butler was providing some other, what I'll call minimally invasive home-based business operation, we would not be having this conversation. It's not unusual for us to allow home-based occupations in residential communities. That's not unusual. But for the most part, a use that has been depicted for you by way of the photographs over a lengthy period of time, suggests strongly that this particular business occupation is not compatible with a platted residential subdivision. Bringing big equipment, allowing for that staging of employees and their vehicles lined and ringed around the cul-de-sac early in the morning as they prepare to go out, coming home late in the dark, conducting repair activities. What's not depicted here, but what was explained to me, is that there's some welding going on right here in the middle of the subdivision to repair some equipment. It's not unusual for that to happen here. You see the unsightliness of the equipment and the materials that are routinely staged here. This is just a compounding effect over time, this mission creep. He's running a tree service out of a platted subdivision. And so the permit or the license that he was provided to conduct the activity as described, but which is clearly beyond what was described, that is not a perpetual license. This board has the ability, and likely should consider, revoking that home-based business license and require this gentleman to find an alternate location to conduct his business. And so what I would propose is that we consider, at the next available opportunity, and because Mr. Butler and his counsel are here, hopefully there won't be any further complaints about communications of hearing dates and other things. Now, by the way, in my own defense, I've been a little busy over the last several weeks dealing with stuff that I didn't know I was going to be dealing with, and so my life's been a little bit of a turmoil. I apologize for my inavailability from time to time. So what I would propose is that we consider May 30.
Yes, that'd be.
Your next opportunity, gentlemen, is May 30 at 9 a.m. We will have our work session, and I would propose that we have an official hearing, and that Mr. Butler is being notified right now, May 30, 9 a.m. Any of the folks from the HOA that would like to be present, any other property owners in Mill Creek who would like to be a part of that hearing, are invited to attend and participate. And we will tee this up again on May 30, unless we are notified ahead of time that there won't be a need for it. So right now, I think there's a need for it, and I would propose that we do that. Mr. President, what I'd like to do at this point is to ask that you add as an agenda item a motion to set a nuisance zoning violation hearing for Andrew Butler, 156 Westlake Drive, May 30, 9 a.m.
All right. Do I have a motion to add this, to set it for a nuisance hearing May 30th at 9 a.m.? Jay makes a motion.
Second.
Scott seconds a motion. Any other discussion on this bench? All in favor? Aye. Motion to add is passed now.
Mr. President, if we're ready to move on,
We just added.
I'm sorry, I got ahead of you. We need to approve that.
All right.
Motion to approve, second
Second.
hearing.
Jay makes a motion. Scott seconds a motion to approve what we just added. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Do y'all have any questions?
Do you have something now?
For the nuisance hearing, will I be able to receive prior to the evidence that will be presented?
No, ma'am.
We don't have discovery here.
I mean, it's just the pictures that we are seeing.
Would I be able to receive a copy of the photos? And it might be just that I need to do like a FOIA request, but I just don't know that I'll have enough.
We're not subject to the Federal Freedom of Information Act. We can do a public record request. She's welcome to submit a public record request. Ms. Renee can provide the photographs ahead of time. It's going to all be a part of the record regardless. So however you guys want to do that. We do require prepayment for any of the expenses. So if she wishes to submit a public record request, we'll take that in due course, and we will respond in accordance with 2561-1.
All right. It's-
but it might take, I think that they have up to, 10 to 15 days to answer it. I just don't know.
Let's move on. We've got a lot of things that we
Absolutely.
still need to cover, and we've spent an awful lot of time on this, and this is something that, I think most everybody has got a pretty clear picture of what's going on, what's been going on.
Yep.
And where we're headed.
My hope would be common sense will prevail, and there won't be any need to have a hearing on the 30th. We'll see. Mr. President, item N under my section. Can we allow the Mill Creek folks to be dismissed?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Item N, gentlemen, is a discussion and potential action regarding what is referred to as the standard allowance adjustment to lost revenue, and that is related to our ARPA programming, our ARPA funding. We began this conversation last board meeting. The board asked for an opportunity to consider, and so this is a repeat of that conversation. And so the floor is open. I'm happy to address the facts and circumstances about this transfer, so to speak, of ARPA funding, and what that would look like. If the board needs that information, it would be a repeat of what we had talked about previously. So y'all just let me know whenever.
We had a meeting yesterday that was very enlightening, unfortunately. Yeah, so the way we did this project, we submitted 2 projects. One was all the projects that went through the Corps, and the other one was everything else, instead of submitting each individual project as standalone. So now, whenever they submit for reimbursements, it's just one aspect of one project. And we can't submit for reimbursements on another project until the previous ones have been cleared. Is that correct? Yeah. So we got a big old bottleneck, and there's no way we're gonna be able to get our projects done in the time frame that we've been given. No way.
I
And plus,
agree.
we're not gonna have the money. We're gonna have to literally go out and borrow money.
Yeah.
Short-term money to be able to fund, cause we only have 11 million left of our portion.
So that it's clear, when Jay says we don't have any money, the issue is we have not received timely reimbursements from the state through DEQ because Horn CPA has it locked up arguing about stuff that they've already been provided. Yes, I said that publicly. We have a bottleneck because of the system and the red tape, and we're having a painful time getting the reimbursements loosed to get to us. We would not be out of money if we had been reimbursed appropriately and timely.
But also, we also have not been given any information either, as far as where we stand, you know, what's allocated, what's not allocated, where we stand on each project. So they are supposed to be providing that information now, hopefully sooner than later. So, but, you know, we're gonna have to make some decisions pretty quick on.
You have
how
until
we need to move
August the
forward.
31st, gentlemen, to have your ARPA contracts under contract, executed. August the 31st, that's
Includes
fast approaching.
advertising, there's some things between now.
Yes, you won't be able to get a contract until it's been properly advertised, noticed for bid, if it's a bid project. Now, we have a lot of your stream crossing projects under your ARPA program are under a commodity contract, so that literally will be issuance of PO. That's how that contract gets established. But not every one of your ARPA programs, projects, is a PO project. A lot of them are bid projects. And so that's gonna require a notice to bidders, a bid process, and an award of a bid, and then contract execution, and all that needs to be staged prior to August 31st. So we are under a serious time pressure to get the projects under contract. It's gonna be hard to know exactly how that's gonna time out, because one aspect of some of your bid projects is receiving a permit from the Corps. You can't go to bid until you got your Corps permit.
But if the board wishes to, you know, take some of that money and convert it to asphalt, you know, we need a look at what we have outstanding, what projects, because some projects are gonna be cut, you know, in order to create that, you know, shortfall.
Well, mine's already been cut.
And I've cut one too, also.
So we have 11 million on hand, and depending on how much y'all want of that to go toward asphalt, you know, like I said, it's a project's going to be shelved. And I'm pretty sure we probably already paid engineering fees on every one of them.
And
So that's gonna cut into it
Mayor,
too.
Did we get a reimbursement?
I don't specifically say move it to asphalt. I say move it to our road management plan.
Well, and let me add on to what Jay said, there's 11 million remaining, but we have already committed most of that 11 million to current projects.
Yeah.
That are already awarded.
Yes.
Yes. And we are looking at about double that when we are reimbursed. About 22 million, 20 million, something like that.
I mean, we are gonna get reimbursed eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, it might
Eventually.
be
We
the
need-
spring of next year or something.
Eventually. Yeah, the problem is that we don't know exactly what the state is gonna do with the remaining uncommitted state matching funds that the local jurisdictions are not able to get matched because they couldn't get them under contract. At some point, the state is gonna claw back those funds.
Yeah.
That's the trick bag we find ourselves in.
So the sooner we can get a list of where we are, what we have left, the sooner we can make a decision on
And
what we can, you know.
What's realistic that we will be able to get under contract?
In 90 days.
Yep. I hear that there's still hope that they can get them all. I don't have that feeling.
Just FYI, we still have the ability to get under contract county ARPA projects. The problem is we will likely lose access to state matching funds after August 31st. It's because the state has to make a decision about the funds before their deadline, which is December 31, just like ours. So we can still move forward with ARPA programming and get them under contract. We will likely lose eligibility for state matching funds if they are not under contract, and we can report that to the state prior to August 31st. So there's a self-imposed state deadline that we're fighting against, and then there's a federal deadline of December 31, 2024, which is the final deadline for all ARPA contracts. Hopefully that's clear enough.
But the ones that are sitting there at Homer now, I mean, we should be reimbursed,
I
right?
think we have outstanding right now $5 million that is over there being processed. So that would.
And
go
likely
some way.
additional applications are being submitted frequently,
Well,
that's
they
my
can.
understanding.
We can't submit an additional
Even
request.
submit?
No.
Good
Until
Lord.
one's been
Exactly.
cleared.
Yep.
Like it's a cluster of all clusters.
We have a
Yeah.
1.4 request waiting a response. We have a $4 million request waiting to be submitted, and then there's another one behind it as well.
So, you know, we finished Mill Creek, we ain't got anything yet. So, I know, you know, we meet again, the, whatever, the end of this
30th,
month.
30th.
So we're gonna have to make a decision then.
Yep.
What to do with,
Yeah, well, I know our last meeting,
puts
we
us hard
advertised,
on
we
it.
gave authority to advertise a lot of jobs. Well, if we're gonna follow through with that, then we need to come up with a way of getting some short-term
We're
funding.
gonna, right.
It's okay, by the way, to consider, to continue that process, because you always have the option of not accepting a bid.
Right.
That's always gonna be an option for you. So I strongly suggest that we keep moving forward until we get a final decision. We need to keep moving forward with the process to get bids ready. And then you guys will be able to be in a position to tell us for sure when we need to hit the stop button.
Well, I had to scrap one that I'd advertised because I don't have enough money. One project went over so much, so in order to make ends meet, I had to scrap one of them.
I went from 10 million to 1.4.
So you gonna share yours, everybody else, is that what you're saying?
That's the only project I'll have.
Please. He already has. Pretty please.
Can I ask, guys, can we have Ms. Jamie place this item on the May 30 work session agenda under my section,
Yes.
and we'll revisit it just as you see it here.
Yes, please. And we
Okay.
need to get Wagner to get us some information ASAP.
Okay? Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, if you're ready, we'll go to item O, which is an acknowledgement of receipt of final judgment that sets aside the tax sale and authorizes the refund to the tax sale buyer, and authorization to issue the refund to the tax sale buyer for that 2020 tax sale. You see the PPIN number there. Authority to void the tax sales for 2021 and 2022 for that same parcel, and to issue refund to the tax sale buyers, and authority to void the receipt of tax payment for 2023, same parcel, and to issue a refund. So I just need a motion to authorize all of that.
So moved.
All right, Scott makes a motion.
Second.
Jay seconds a motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
I have one item in additional business, and then I have need for an executive session.
Craig, while you're
Yes, sir.
there, on the public hearing that I had on the Levi Cooper
Yes, sir.
property, one thing we left out there, you know, we've been making everybody on the Levi Cooper that's building, were you able to get to acquire the right of way? You know,
Okay, well, it was already there that way. She just purchased what was already there.
no, I'm saying the road frontage, you know,
Yeah,
we
but
were.
she's not dividing anything. Is that something?
Yeah, so let me and Mr. Parker meet about that.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir, I do.
Future
I think we're trying to make
improvements
sure-
down the road.
I get that, but
Yeah,
she didn't change anything.
understood. I'm gonna get with Mr. Parker. I just need to put him on notice. And what we'll do is we will approach the property owner with a request to provide the 30 feet of
And it
road
might
frontage.
be there now.
It may
I don't know.
be. We'll
Being
look at
that's-
it. To the extent that it's inadequate or it's prescriptive, we'll get official 30 feet. We'll make a request for that from the property owner, and I'll ask Ms. Renee she won't make that a condition, but we'll make that an
Yeah.
item of discussion with the property owner when she comes to pick up her
Because
permit.
all of this is in due if she could purchase the property,
Yes.
getting approved for this.
Yes.
and I mean,
Now is the time, it's
yeah.
appropriate now to go ahead and address that right-of-way along Levi Cooper, so we don't end up with a haphazard right-of-way situation out there.
All right.
All right.
We'll make sure that conversation takes place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hicks, this should be pretty easy and
Yes, sir.
quick.
Good morning. Item A is approval to transfer some funds, 1.15 million, and that's from the Grand Gulf Fund, to pay for the fire trucks that we received today.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, Brad makes a motion to approve. Scott seconds a motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And item B is the acknowledged receipt of the two pumpers and the one tanker. And those are for Puckett, Walters, and Cato Fire Departments, and authority to issue that check.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, who made the motion?
I made the motion.
Brad made the motion.
I got the second.
Scott seconded the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes, and they were on display in the parking lot this morning.
The insurance
Now,
on
we have, Craig has one other, I'm sorry.
the insurance on the trucks, they covered, okay.
All right, Craig has an item to add.
Yes, sir. If I can get an add, this would be discussion and potential action concerning the intersection of Castle Woods Boulevard and Bradford Drive with respect to a road flood drainage situation. Need to address that with the board. That would be an add.
Castlewood.
Castle Woods Boulevard and Bradford Drive.
Make the motion to add.
Second.
All right. I have a motion by Scott and a second by Jay to add discussion for Castlewoods Boulevard, Bradford Drive intersection.
Yes, sir.
All right. All
That
in
in-
favor?
I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes to add now.
That intersection, very heavily traveled. You guys know this intersection well. It's the old back nine of the golf course is to the north. The current golf course and some of the planned residential areas would be on that southeast corner. Got other residential on what would be the southwest corner, and then on the northeast corner, you've got an area that's controlled by the Castlewood Homeowners Association. All of this has a large tributary of Mill Creek that bisects, comes underneath both Bradford and Castle Woods, significant drainage area through there. At least one house in that vicinity has been underwater, I think multiple times, but it's been underwater. That whole intersection there is typically at risk of being underwater during any of our rain events. The project, the ARPA project that came online has helped, but has not alleviated the road flooding in that area. So what we need to discuss is action that would allow for a clearing and an evaluation of the culvert situation in and around both Bradford and Castle Woods Boulevard to determine whether or not there's an adequate flow there that gets into Mill Creek to allow for alleviation of that flood to our road. You are authorized under Mississippi Code annotated section 19-5-92.1 to determine whether or not there is a requirement for this board to act to protect public infrastructure and to authorize, with permission of property owners, which would be the homeowners association and the golf course, to evaluate and potentially to address any obstructions in the tributary associated with Bradford and Castle Woods to open it up so that the flow gets to Mill Creek. Those would be the two property owners that you would need to address.
It'd been nice to do that project before we did the Mill Creek project. I mean, rather than going out there and ripping the golf course, you know, we could have actually done something. Is this the intersection where the clubhouse is?
It is. It's out kind of in front of the clubhouse by that putting green.
Yeah.
It's west of the project area
Yeah.
for the ARPA project.
Yeah.
So this is a tributary to the main channel, which it wasn't supposed to be a part of the main channel project, Jay. So
Well,
this is
I was
this.
saying maybe we should have done
well,
this rather than the other.
I understand. I understand. So at this juncture, what we're really trying to do is protect the road. The undermining of Bradford and Castle Woods, that's you guys' purview. We hate to hear things like private homes are underwater. We hate to hear that. The hard reality is you guys do not have jurisdiction to address private property issues. So this is not a flood control for private property. This is how do we protect Bradford? How do we protect Castle Woods Boulevard from being underwater during certain rain events? And we believe we've identified that it is obstructions within the tributary and potentially an issue with the culvert underneath Castle Woods. So I think what we need is to initiate an exploration of the situation, interact with the private property owners so that we can access the project area with permission, and then come back to you guys with what the solution we believe is and the cost.
Kim, what's going on out there, man?
I think there's probably just some debris and things that have got it clogged up where the channels can't drain. I haven't looked at it, but I think that's what's happening, and it's causing potentially putting the water on the road.
All right.
Well,
We can't get access to that without the private property owner's permission, so
Okay.
I kind of need you guys to say, we're gonna evaluate this, let's ask the property owners for permission.
okay, is that basically, okay.
Yes, sir.
Then, do you wanna make a motion, form a motion to have them explore and evaluate and report back to us?
Report back. That is my motion.
All right, Scott makes that motion,
Second.
Jay seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We have already added it, so this is for y'all to evaluate, explore it, come up with a plan, and come back to us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other additional business?
I don't have any
I
additional
have
business.
one public comment that we have not addressed, and that's Ms. Lisa Barrett. Do you have some, okay. Now, do we have a need for executive session?
I make a motion to discuss the need.
All right, Jay makes a
Second.
motion to discuss the need for executive session, and Sid seconds. Now, aye. Motion passes. We have
Personnel, potential acquisition of real property, litigation galore. Times multiple. Those, at least those three items for sure.
I make a motion for executive session for those
right.
items he listed.
Jay,
Second Mr. Bishop's motion.
Jay makes motion, Scott seconds a motion to go into executive session for personnel, litigation, and acquisition. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. We